And welcome, boys and girls, to a championship edition of the 3 College Basketball Podcast. I'm Matthew Cox, joined by the known cohorts, Jimothy Root, Kyle McKeon. Jim, with your hand up. Jim, I'll call on you first. Thank you for following protocol today. How are you?
I'm wonderful, Matthew. Got up early today, so I'm a little bit tired, but I'm excited because it's all day hoops. It's wall to wall, and it's going to be that way tomorrow. It's going to be that way Friday. It's going to be that way Saturday. And then, Kyle, we don't have wall to wall hoops Sunday, but we've got five wonderful championship games and then selection Sunday. And then we'll be talking a lot after that, writing a lot after that. So it
Yes.
is a wonderful red carpet of basketball ahead of us. Let's embark on that voyage.
Jim, I cannot wait. Next week, this time, we'll be in Vegas, or at least on a flight to Vegas for our annual first round trip. We're there the following weekend. Selection Sunday is wonderful. Jim and I,
We're there way too much. We're
we're
there
there
like
a little bit too much this year, but it's still very
Wrong,
fun. I'm very
wrong.
excited.
I lived there. It's the best. Come on,
No,
guys.
in my
Mm.
opinion, it is fun for a couple days. I'm excited though, man. Conference Championship Week. This is one of the best weeks of the year.
It is the sharps would say this week is actually the best weekend of the year. A lot of people are making
That's such a Matty contrarian take.
It is. Well, it's getting some traction though on the Twitter spheres. I feel like this one and the second weekend, which we will be there at Circa, proud and loud per usual, looking darling and handsome. That's like the new cool weekends to go. So we're still kind of like in the square. We're like we go out on New Year's Eve still. We're like the cool elites do like New Year's Eve Eve. That's what you're supposed to do. Anyway, it'll be fun. I'll get sick
Never
of you,
even
I'm
heard
sure,
of
within
that.
2 weeks.
What?
Yeah, that's the
The,
thing.
the
That's the thing.
We're a
best
spinny podcast. We're got the spinny take is first weekend.
The first weekend's the best by far. Let's not make this something it's not. It's the best weekend
I would
of the
I
year.
would
This is a
agree.
great weekend. There's more games. There's more gambling opportunities, sure, but there's not.
I won't disagree. As contrarian as I am, I will not disagree. All right, hey, so the show outline is pretty standard. We're going to talk mostly conference tournament breakdowns, what happened, what will happen. Not a ton of thoughts from the thoughts about those, but not more abstract thoughts as we usually share. And then we'll read the reviews, preferably 5-star. We'll see what they. I didn't actually look at the batch. I'm sure Kyle will have that wrangled.
All 5 stars
But
today.
first, let's go. Come on, huge turn. But first of all, 5-star DJ, that's Joe Pascal, aka J Pitty, does the intro and outro music for our phenomenal program. Please follow us on Twitter. That's at 3MW_CBB. The same handle applies on Instagram. Subscribe on Spotify, Amazon, iTunes, among other platforms where you can leave us the mandatory 5-star review and any rating and any review we will read and discuss at the end of the program. We will save those to the end, as we are now doing in our slightly altered format, which I quite prefer, by the way. Personal Corner, yes, our best bet show is so effing bad. It's the best damn sports show up here. I wish we could name it that. Probably some copyright infringement there with the Fox Sports presentation way back when, but that's kind of what we are. No, all humility intended there. 4 to 5 times a week, 5 times this week because we're busy bees, and the almanac's still up there if you guys want to buy that. I have it open every day. Still, this late in the season, it's time for a section we call Roots Roundup. Jim.
Let's do it, Matthew. Let's get into it. But before we do, we must give a shout out to a terrific sponsor. That is CBB Analytics. Kai, it's March. It's time for some numbers, some data.
That's right. CBB Analytics, cbbanalytics.com, the best 30,000-foot view of the numbers in college hoops. Many Division I coaching staffs are signed up and use the tool to scout and game plan. It's a useful website for sports bettors. It's a useful website for just diehard college basketball fans or even casual college basketball fans, adding new tools each and every day. We talked to them just the other day. They have some very exciting stuff coming up, some functionality that I know I will be very interested in as a diehard college basketball fan and a sports bettor. You can get $40 off a subscription to CBB Analytics with our promo code WEAVE. Check them out, cbbanalytics.com, promo code WEAVE, $40 off your subscription fee. Check them out, boys.
Let's do it. Check it out. Get on over there, cbbanalytics.com. All right. The news is mostly around coaching, and we're not going to dwell on these. We will do a big old coaching roundup episode in the offseason, grading all the hires. So don't worry, we'll dig more into that. But The notable firings. Kenny Payne is gone. Matt, ding dong, the witch is dead in Louisville, Kentucky. Rejoicing. I saw mobs in the streets. I saw cars being flipped, fires being lit, torches. Should they be this happy? Yes, they should. Tell me how everyone should feel about this. Louisville moving on.
I mean, Mike Rutherford, as I said to you guys off in our group me forum, just has been the greatest follow on Twitter the last 2 years. He's always been a great follow, but just the Kenny Payne circumstantial clown show that it was, I will miss that. That's the only downside for this guy. Presumably, Louisville will hire a real basketball coach and we'll have to take them seriously, which I guess is how, order will be restored. But I enjoyed the chaos that was with Mr. Payne at the helm.
Yeah, his presser was funny. He basically blamed everybody else except himself for the struggles. He said he needed 3 to 4 years in this transfer portal age. That's obviously garbage. He didn't get a guard his first year. I think Kevin Sweeney tweeted that Louisville finished with more D2 losses than road wins under Kenny Payne, which is pretty funny. And 12-52 overall. Pretty good tenure there for old K Payne.
You know what? I'm going to blame one other person, Matthew, and that's Nolan Smith. I'm blaming Nolan Smith.
Oh,
key lead assistant coming
don't
over
come
there.
for the Dukies. Don't come for the Dukies.
Well, Matt, when he starts to figure out analytics, I will give him a little more credit. Although Kenny Payne did hire Nolan Smith, so maybe it all comes back to Kenny Payne.
The Duke former player brotherhood assistant tree is just it's starting to turn kind of rotten. It's been rotten, but it's continuing to turn more. It's tough.
Yeah, Chris Collins is standing up for all of
this. He's probably the beacon right now. It's crazy as much as I gave him shit.
Should Duke want him over John Shire right now?
No, we won't have that discussion. Now is not the time for such discussion.
All right, fair. Yeah,
that's way too.
Table that. We've got a lot to get to on this one. Mike Hopkins, the other high major firing announced already, done at Washington. This one seemed sort of inevitable. Kai, RIP to another 2-3 zone team, although they didn't play it as much this year. Now maybe Alaska Airlines Center, a fun place to watch a game, can actually be relevant again.
Yeah, congrats. Good job. Good decision, Washington. Good job.
Was it a year late?
It was a year late. Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, that's another issue with the portal and the recruiting is just wait till I get these next guys in here. Oh, I got Keon Brooks back. Just wait to see what I do with him this final year. Well, he did the same thing, which was nothing. Whole lot of nothing. Other ones in the Missouri Valley, bunch of turnover. SIU fired Brian Mullins. UIC, no more Luke Yaklich. And Missouri State, Matthew, your Bears, Dana Ford gone. Do they bring back Barry Hinson? That's the question.
Should.
Yes.
No, they're getting
rumors.
The rumors. Northwest Missouri State guy, Ben McCollum, who we have been waxing. I don't know, Kai, you're more in. You got some ties to Northwest Missouri basketball.
I've been there.
You've been there. Brother played in that part of the.
I've heard he's a great coach. I've heard he's not the easiest person to get along with. That's the reputation he carries. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. Also, SIU, horrible decision firing Brian Mullins. I don't understand.
Yeah, I didn't
firing
thought that was really, really unjustified.
Don't say the dome mask. Don't say the dome mask thing. That's far. His team was supposed to be terrible this year. He did a great job. I be careful what you wish for.
I'm okay with it. I think it's fine. I think it's fine to yearn for more.
Because he had a great tenure. To Jim's point, I know, but to Jim's point, SIU that's a real program with real money and real standards. The Valley bar is kind of rising every year, but SIU's always been the flag bearer. I'm kind of with Jim. The more I thought, you know what? SIU thinks they're the shit. All right, go get you a guy who can coach at an A level. We'll see if they do.
Yeah, I mean, first 3 years were not very good. Then he had a fourth year with Damask and Jones, but didn't get close to the top of the Valley. And then this year exceeded expectations a little bit.
2 games back at the top of the Valley.
All right.
Analytically, they were better than their overall, I think, performance. Fair. I think I give that to Mullins, no question. But it's a bottom line business, Kai. Just win, baby. Just win.
Hey, I'm just saying I like the guy. I think it's Missouri State, fine choice. UIC, fine choice. But SIU, I was a little bit surprised.
If Barry Hinson doesn't get called back for either of his former jobs, it's a crime. It's an absolute crime. I guess, Kai, this is be careful what you wish for when you move on from Barry Hinson. For both schools.
And we love Barry. Guys, just
we do.
The absolute best.
Yeah, and then Dana Ford, Missouri. Yeah, mentioned that. Out in Long Beach, kind of a eyebrow raiser here. Kai, this is one I didn't totally get. Dan Monson gone. He's been terrific there, or really good. Maybe not quite as on fire lately, but had some awesome seasons and was a little eyebrow raising given his long tenure.
Yeah.
Mercer, you want to, yeah, please
Well,
comment.
it said it was mutual, which I guess I bought. He's 62. Maybe he just kind of wanted to. He's been there 17 years, 16 years. I don't know. I thought it was weird too, but maybe he wanted to be done. I don't know.
Fair enough. Greg Gary from Mercer is out, and Dane Fisher out at William and Mary. It got to be honest, this is kind of like the firing Scott Cross at UT Arlington, where in the moment it was like, "What are you doing?" And then the replacement just never able to get it back to the level that apparently the AD thought wasn't good enough. So curious what happens there. Call Tony Shaver, see if he's available, and then move on from there. Buck Joyner fired at Hampton. They have already moved on and hired Georgetown assistant Yvonne Thompson, just announced right before we started recording. Also in that area, DMV, Loyola, Maryland, moved on from Tavares Hardy. Just never quite got the Princeton style scheme going there, despite at one point having Cam Spencer and Santi Aldama on the same team. I think there were some injuries that derailed that particular edition, but yeah, just never quite got to the top half of a shaky league. And then Ron Cottrell at Houston Christian. Guys, was this a retirement? He's been there for a bajillion years. I actually don't know for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
It's kind of like the Greg Campy thing.
He ushered them into the D1 era. Houston Christian. He's been there since 1991, Jim.
Yeah, so it kind of feels like he had the cachet to leave when he wanted, and this is probably the choice. It said parting ways after 34 years, but I don't know. All right, the only other ones, I guess we should mention the hiring of Coastal Carolina new coach Justin Gray from Western Carolina, moving to a program with significantly better resources based on all the like program budget stuff I did. WCU was way down in the dumps of the SoCon there, so I imagine that was a big part of it. And then Chris Casey promoted to full-time coach at Fairfield, no longer interim. Matt, I know you love to celebrate interim guys getting that tag removed. Well-deserved in this case, right?
Yeah, it's weird that, he wasn't like a star coach in this exact same league not so long ago, but clearly has, and I think his roster is awesome. So we'll see if he can keep it going. That's all. I'm not going to be like the super skeptical Scrooge with Casey, but I think the roster was awesome this season. So I'd like to see him continue that for multiple years before I'm going to fully put my chips in. Jim, real quick, do we know Tim Kraft already replaced the Justin Gray spot at Western?
Wow.
Pretty nice hire for the kind of, yeah, right? I feel like those programs are kind of, I know conference-wise, that's an upgrade, but I think program-wise,
the reputation
like
of the WCU
equals.
job is not great.
Yeah, so we'll see. Maybe there's been a big investment. I don't know. Kind of like football, they're awesome this year. Basketball, they've obviously been, I think they've been paying some players to get some. So maybe they've got some, maybe I don't understand some money flowing in there. So good for WCU.
I have to think they have way more resources than Gardner Webb, and SoCon's a big jump, obviously. So not a bad hire. I think Tim Kraft's done a pretty good job at Gardner.
Yeah, I think Kraft's very good.
I think he's done a terrific job. Funny thing is that the coach before Justin Gray at Western Carolina took a job in the Big South at Winthrop, which is, of course, the powerhouse of that league. But Mark Prosser going in that reverse direction. So just a curiosity in the mid-major ranks. Recruiting news, Matt, your Dukie's got another 5-star. Congrats. How many yachts does John Shire need to have a fleet? 5-star center, Kaman Maluach to Duke, an NBA Africa product. Okay, who's scoring inside against him and Cooper Flagg? I don't know. It's going to be.
Can he reclass?
He's 24. He's 24.
Well, to this year, it'd be cool. We could just
okay.
Just kind of, take a few tests, knock a few credits out online, and lace them up by Thursday.
Yeah, I can't imagine he's going to need all 4 years of his eligibility, so might as well use one now for the last month of the season. And then 4-star small forward Carter Knox, also a top 25 recruit, headed to Kentucky. The rich get richer in the recruiting section. John Calipari, John Shire, doing well on the recruiting trail.
Kevin Knox's brother, I assume?
I don't think so.
Really?
Kevin Knox's brother is actually on South Florida, Kobe Knox. Interesting. Yeah. I don't know if this is a third brother. He might be. Kyle, I'll let you verify before I absolutely shoot you down. Give me a stat, boy. Nothing.
Yes, he is.
He is. Okay, good. Well done. Glad we sorted that out. transfer news, we're going to again sort that out after the season. There's going to be 1,000 names in there. It's just not something we should touch on now as we get into March Madness. Injuries, though, Kansas, very shorthanded. Hunter Dickinson, Kevin McCullough not playing in the Big 12 tournament. I think Self has said loudly they're going to be super healthy for the NCAA tournament. That feels like projection and something that is really hard to be certain about at this stage. Kai, I saw the Rico Bosco column about I actually feel bad for Kansas. We don't feel bad for Kansas.
Why would you feel bad for Kansas? No. It's the most successful program in the last like 40 years. No, thank you.
Yep. Yeah, they're just fine. They are just fine. And then
if you've won a national title in the last 10 years, my sympathy is only so far. Yeah.
You're getting zero. But yeah, Russ from Seconds to Madness and Duke Better on Twitter, the crazy cast at Field 68 was like, I'm just so bummed we're only getting 1 year of Jared McCain. I was like, Cooper Flag coming in. That's just brutal. And then Tyler Kolek, Matthew, sitting out the quarterfinal of the Big East tournament. Unclear if he's going to return later in that tournament. Again, I have been hearing he will not play in that event, hoping he can be fully healthy for the NCAA tournament. So that would be my request and recommendation. Just get healthy for that.
Yeah, I don't want a deja vu last year where we were kind of left wanting more with Marquette. Who knows what they would have done with a healthy Kolek. I'm sure Marquette fans don't need to dig up those old demons, but yeah, get healthy. So I'll be honest, I'm rooting for KU to be healthy and be like a force. I'd like to, if they're going to get downed in the tournament, I would like it to be at full strength and with their guys healthy. Not, I don't want the easy asterisk attached next.
I want that. That's fine. Okay. You can scream about injuries. I'm okay with that. Just go down early. That's what I want out of Kansas. All right, that's it for injuries and Roots Roundup. Matthew, I'll kick it back to you for a little. We saw that.
We saw a lot. We saw some tickets being punched. Celebrations were had. Great times were enjoyed by the youngsters. St. Mary's WCC, looking at the updated bracket matrix, both Gonzaga and St. Mary's comfortably on the 7 line. How about that? We went from too big WCC to top favored seeds or favorite seeds for both these teams. So well done to both Zags and St. Mary's, both winners from the weekend. Even though Zags got routed by the Gales, both are winners in my opinion.
Congrats to the WCC.
Yeah. I honestly impressive performance from St. Mary's without Jefferson, showing that they still have kind of that ceiling gear.
And here comes the run of mid-majors. Thank goodness we got a pretty good bag of heavy hitters.
We do.
Drake from the Valley, James Madison from the Sun Belt, the Fun Belt, South Dakota State, who I am backing on, by the way.
Yes.
I didn't tell anyone I entered the bandwagon last night. I came in through the back door. I'm back in the corner in the dark, cowering with my tail. Yeah, I'm back in. So the Bunnies are back. Morehead State from the OVC. Debatable mid-major threat or for real or fugazi, as the Jeff Bigman
would say. Cover game.
We'll see.
Yeah, I think they're going to be a pain in the ass to play against with actual high major size, multiple ball handlers, and Minix is a crazy scorer.
Yeah, the OVC, I guess the OVC and then the Big South, Longwood, another team that I think will be a debatable. Seeing those conferences get smacked in the mouth.
Longwood's going to lose by 30.
Yeah, we'll see. Stetson Kai, the Belgian Bastions, as I think Stuckey kind of illuminated the fact that their two best players are in fact from Swanson. We knew. I didn't know that their stud big guy Swinson. Sorry, their stud big guy Gadaretse is also from Belgium. So fun stuff there. They're unique, funky. Play some zone. Got 2 awesome guards with Jalen Blackman, who dropped 40
first to 15 bet. Stetson for sure.
Yeah, they're. I think they're going to be fun. Kind of
first ever tournament. That's a great story. That's a good story. Shouts to DeLand, Florida.
And the fact that they're the Hatters and their crowd, it's just everybody wears the weirdest hat they own. Yeah, that's their bit. It's this is incredible. I love it.
Horizon Oakland.
Your boys.
Greg Campy, you dirty dog. 40th year at the helm. Just keeps on cooking. Had a last tough couple of seasons injuries, but now they're back in the winner's circle.
It's been 13 years, 2011.
13 years.
Yep.
Yeah, remember, Campy was always one of the first to get transfers from big schools and weaponize them pretty instantly. So it's one of the few old dogs that has mastered the new tricks, but those tricks haven't really worked out the last few years. I'm glad that he's finally back in where he belongs. And then Samford, Buckyball. I mean, everyone knows about at this point. We all forgot about the Bucky taunt of Zach Edey to open the year where they put their like fake walk on
Oh yeah.
Oh, that
in
wasn't a
that promo
taunt.
video. It was sort of it was just like I think a good promotional thing, but it got like a lot of like, oh come on, who is this clown? Like for people who didn't really know how good that team was, and now like they're pretty legit.
Wait, is
You
that
find
about
this?
jumping
Yeah,
center with their
yeah,
5'8"
the tip.
guy?
Right,
Oh, that was awesome. I love that.
That was amazing. No, I loved it too. I think it rubbed people the wrong way and like Purdue smacked him and was
No.
like, that's what you deserve. It was like, oh, shut up. This seems fun. Relax. And then Wagner winning at Merrimack. Bummer for the Warriors, man. Fourth year,
Big
finally eligible
bummer.
for the tournament. They've won it 2 of the last 3.
Just
I feel
conference tournament once, but the regular season,
that's right.
yeah, twice.
Regular
Yeah.
season, correct. But yeah, last year they won this, so they should have been dancing, and that opened the door for Fairleigh Dickinson's awesome run. This year was their chance, same spot. Jim, our Wagner Seahawks came through and got it done on the road.
Yeah, pretty bummed. Had a Wagner regular season ticket, and they got down to 7 guys and ran out of gas, and then had enough gas based on a spaced out NEC tournament. I think they would have been in trouble if it was like neutral site, 3 games in 3 days. Thankfully, they didn't have to do that. Ty, this is one where I'm okay with like a low seed winning the tournament because the 1 seed was just going to be a 16 anyways. So who
Sure.
cares?
True. Good point. Yes.
Hi, last but certainly not least, Charleston, the city, Pat Kelsey, and the boys. They're back. They are certainly back. Projected seed, though, was a lot lower than I thought. I'm a naive. They're closer to 13, 14 than
No,
like
they're not.
11, 12.
No, they're not.
Okay, bracket.
They're
okay.
12, 13. 12 probably. 13 maybe because there's a lot of
I
good
don't know,
12s.
Kai.
Bracket
not a-
Matrix
I
has
think
them
they're kinda 13,
14.
They are not a
Like,
14. No.
Who are they?
They're top
who are they ahead
100.
of this group?
Mm.
Who are they ahead of this group? Princeton, James Madison, Grand Canyon, McNeese, Samford.
UC
I
Irvine.
guess 13. I'm going to put them at 13. Irvine,
13.
probably ahead of them.
Yeah.
An American if South Florida wins. I don't know.
They're 13.
We'll see. We'll see. I think they should. Yeah, they'll probably end up there because 2 of those teams will lose and they'll get bumped
They would
up.
be the best 14 seed ever if they were 14.
I know, but yeah, point being, I look at the S curve, I feel like there's a drop off from like 4 to 5 seed. So I think if you're a mid-major, you like getting that 12 to 11 range is pretty huge. I think you get to like that 13 range, you actually start to see some real teams. All right, that's all we got. We saw a lot more, but that was the coolest shit we saw. It's time for no, it's not time for thoughts. It's time for a quick read from our fine sponsor, Kai.
Thank you. And a reminder, Matthew, we're skipping 3-man thoughts today and going right to conference
Yes, right to
tournament
previews, I know.
previews. I knew you knew that. Home
Thoughts
field.
on the previews.
Home field. I'm wearing their hoodie. I think Jim's wearing some home field. I don't want to, maybe not. I'm wearing a home
I have
field.
the shorts.
Though.
I have the shorts.
That's wearing home field
Yeah.
shorts. Shorts.
Yeah. Are you?
Are you sure they're home field?
I am positive they're home fields.
I didn't know they sold shorts. That's a great revelation. Wow.
I'm
Congratulations.
sure they're home field.
I mean, there's a different brand.
God,
that
it's pretty embarrassing if I just offer to promote a product they don't own. I will put on some pants just to make sure that
I tell you what they got though. They got shooting shirts now. They got a couple jerseys now in stock. They have a Mizzou jersey, Jim, that we have been eyeing.
It's so hot.
Pretty cool.
That jersey is awesome.
Little throwback. What was the year on that one? 1990.
Early 90s, 92, 93.
Looks
maybe?
good. It looks really good. Home field apparel. If you guys don't know what they are, they make the best shirts, hoodies, you name it, related to college athletics. Multiple sports, a lot of basketball, which pertains to us, of course, in this podcast. Hundreds of schools to choose from. Homefieldapparel.com. They really do their research. They have some really cool throwback logos for all these schools. Some quotes that are, of course, special to each school, each fan base. If you go to their website and you buy some stuff, you can use our promo code 3MW at checkout for 15% off. Again, that's Home Field Apparel. Home Field, wear one for the team.
Thank you. Well done. Conference tournament previews, as promised. We'll go in order of relevance, I guess. But it's funny, a lot of these big conference tournaments I just don't care as much. But bubble implications are loom pretty large in basically all of these. We'll start in the Big 12, Kai. KC Mo, Saturday evening will be the final. Most of these will be decided Saturday, a few on Sunday, which I hate, as is the committee. Don't have your tournament on Sunday. I guess if you want the eyeballs, but whatever. It basically screws both team playing. Kai, the favorite is Houston because Kansas has no players. Baylor is obviously lurking. I like this Baylor team quite a bit, by the way. Texas Tech got the 4 seed. 4 seeds get a double bye to the first to Thursday. Pretty huge advantage there. But Texas Tech's not exactly operating on all cylinders right now with their injuries. Kai, who do you like in this format?
Who do I like in the Big 12? Matthew, I'm going with Baylor as my choice. That's going to be a popular one because of Houston's, well, we'll say they're banged up. I mean, clearly they were fine. Their final game didn't affect them whatsoever. Obviously, Kansas without Dickinson and McCullough is a huge deal. I like Iowa State. I'm just not totally convinced they are the right horse to back, just given the stagnation on offense that happens every now and then. So Baylor, I think, is the team I'll back to win this. But man, a lot of good teams in this field. BYU's going on right now. They're a great team. Texas Tech is obviously a very good team. I wouldn't be surprised if really anybody outside of even the top three, Jim, won this one in Kansas City.
Yeah, BYU has re-extended as we podcast right now up on UCF, back up double digits. The one like wrinkle for me that I end up changing my pick here from Baylor to Iowa State is Iowa State owns Baylor. Like they have whomped them like 4 times in the last 2 years. They triple swept them last year, took care of business against them this year. It seems like the pressure, it just bugs Baylor, the physicality. The offense doesn't stagnate as much against that like automatic switch that Baylor does. Maybe the zone that Scott Drew has resurrected is going to give Iowa State problems potentially in a semifinal there. But yeah, with Baylor coming from the part of the bracket where I just don't think Kansas is much of a threat, again, because I don't think Kansas wants to be a threat. That's a big part of it. I don't think they're going to push their main guys that are healthy to the limit to try to get to a semifinal this tournament. I don't think it matters that much to them. But I think that bottom half of the bracket, there's some opportunity. And on top, I think Houston makes it. But yeah, like the lack of a bench, lack of, some of the scoring pop, their big men cannot make free throws. That drives me nuts every single game. Yeah, Matt, I ended up going with Iowa State.
I think I agree. I don't know. I've gone back and forth. I want to talk about real quick the bubble implications. TCU is probably the biggest, I guess, hanging by the thinnest thread, but we're looking at 9 teams from this loaded conference right now.
And I'd say they're all
I don't know
pretty
where he
safe.
is.
If
They're
TCU
all
loses,
safe-ish, right?
if TCU
Yeah.
loses to Oklahoma, they're still in the field.
Yeah, like that's worst case is you pick up another Q2 loss.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
And until Cincinnati dropped a few late, it could have been 10 this year. And who knows, maybe Cincinnati beats Kansas and gets a little inflated win on their resume and knocks off Baylor and the Bearcats, who knows? Wes Miller and the boys. Good for Matt's 200 to 1 future ticket. Let's move to the Big East.
Wait, is that in the NCAA tournament?
Yeah.
Or in this tournament?
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Yeah, that's right. Not you
This
have the
tournament,
conference
I have the
future.
175
I
to
have the
1 in this
national
one.
title.
Yes.
Jim, I'm thinking
Got
big. This team can go all the way. No, they can't.
Yeah, there you go.
The Big East featuring teams that could go all the way. UConn is a huge favorite, as they should be. Huskies just awesome. I don't really not else to say there. Kai, the Garden. It's a great stage for Mr. Rick Pitino and his bubble-issues
That's what they
Johnnies.
say. Yeah, they say that. Yeah.
Where do you have them in your bracketology S curve? That's kind of the big
St.
story.
John's?
That's the most fun story of this field. St.
11.
John's making a run at the Garden. Can they do enough to? I mean, automatic would be ideal, but can they win 1 or 2 games to solidify themselves?
Yeah, I think most people have them right on the right side of the bubble right now. Play-in game or 11. So that's good for the Johnnies. They probably should win 1 and just kind of solidify it there.
They open with Seton Hall. That's a good win,
that's
a winnable game, and then they play UConn probably next.
It's a big one for both teams, really. I think Seton Hall is safer right now than the Johnnies, but obviously both teams would pretty much lock it up with a win there. Obviously Marquette, no Kolek, or at least banged up Kolek is kind of scary. So you like Creighton down there at the bottom probably. Villanova is an interesting team. They have among the best talent in this conference. They're sitting at a 6. We assume they're going to beat DePaul today. Wednesday, and then they get Marquette, who's banged up. I think Villanova can make a little run, but it's UConn for me, Jim. UConn is head and shoulders the best team in this conference. I expect them to win.
Yeah, picking UConn. The top part of the bracket's interesting because you have that St. John's Seton Hall game where Seton Hall swept them this year and kind of looked awesome against them. The dribble drive penetration from Richmond and Davis is like the exact thing that Pitino laments that they don't have the defenders to handle, like the lateral movement. But then if St. John's can get by them, he's been awesome against UConn the past 3 meetings. Last year up at halftime as the Iona coach before, kind of collapsing in the second half against a more talented team. And then this year, St. John's has been right there in both meetings. I think that is kind of a Mr. Hurley's hoping that Seton Hall pulls that one out and he can face his alma mater there and A little bit of an easier matchup for them than the way St. John's changes defenses and mixes it up and kind of just moves it around. But yeah, it's UConn for me, Matt. Bottom half, I assume Creighton will come out. Just Marquette, not the same team without Kolek. Very much wishing he is back. KU fans are going to get mad at me because I'm saying I hope he's back, and I didn't say the same thing about Kansas. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. So UConn over Creighton for me.
I guess I'll go Creighton. I just feel like it's an easier route. I'll go Creighton.
Really?
Jump shooting Jays. Yeah. At the
Think
guard.
Creighton's
Why
got a
not?
better path than UConn?
Yeah, I do. I think the matchups UConn. I think the Seton Hall
Providence beat 'em.
Johnny's matchup is a little tougher than. I know bottom half's good too, but I like the path for the jump shooting Jays. Let's go to the Big Ten, which is hosted. What's more perplexing, the fact that Indiana is a 6th seed and got the 6th overall spot in this conference, or the fact that it's in Minneapolis and that's a terrible place for this conference to host their
Well,
tournament?
yeah, both are perplexing, Matthew. Indeed. Congrats to your Hoosiers, though, finishing 6th.
Sure.
They're playing well, man.
Mhm,
They're
I
kinda cooking
know.
late here.
I didn't really want to talk about it. It's sort of like, pitcher during a perfect game, don't jinx it. But Jim, I'll acknowledge subtly what you just mentioned as fact, but go no farther. Kai, who wins this? Purdue 1 seed, Northwestern injured, but still played really. God, they just continue to. Yeah, Chris Collins. I think we need to have a discussion about just maybe a changing narrative as a head coach. 4 seed, Illinois, 2 seed, Nebraska. Freddie Hoiberg, the mayor, as the 3 seed.
Yeah.
Yeah, who wins this? Weird field, just to who the heck knows.
Yeah, worth noting that seeds 6 through 11 were all 10-10 and 9-11 in this league. So it was pretty bunched up. Indiana tied for
Wisconsin,
6th.
Iowa, Michigan State, Minnesota,
Ohio
State, Indiana.
Lots of parity there in the middle. Yeah, very good league. For me, it's Purdue, and that's chalk, but they are a head above every other team, in my opinion. Could Michigan State give them a bit of a run in their first round matchup on Friday, assuming they get past Minnesota? Yes, I think they could. But I think it's Purdue. I think Illinois is a fine choice. I'm not really scared of Illinois losing in their bottom half of the bracket. So where I think we could see some upsets in the beginning and maybe the middle, I think it's going to end up chalk Purdue, Illinois in the championship game.
Yeah, I think I lean that way. You know what? I'll say Nebraska. The Huskers get to the final. I do think Purdue will exact revenge and get a win there. But Nebraska playing very, very well. They're like top 15 in KenPom since February 1st, or at least defensively, their defense has been crazy since Jawan Gary came back. Matthew, your boy. I'll say Michigan State loses to Minnesota in the opening round, despite Minnesota playing poorly. I don't love the vibes with like Hogard as the senior leader, and some of the Michigan State Twitter accounts I follow are not real thrilled with him right now. It seems odd there, although Minnesota has not been playing well either. The vibes are also odd. Seems like, I think Greg Waddell said on the Action podcast that Dawson Garcia has made himself available in the portal almost already. So that's not wonderful. But yeah, Purdue over Nebraska. That's where I'm going, Matthew. Purdue's path isn't bad with super injured Northwestern playing crappy Wisconsin. I think Purdue has to be the pick.
I'm gonna go. Can I just guess I just want to say the field. I don't think Purdue wins this. Painter's not been great in conference tournaments. I think they won it 2 of the last 7,
right?
But they've lost in like the first round, I think 3 years. I'm just looking like his ATS record, just for like from a betting context, not that everyone cares. 4-11 in conference tournament games his last 15 since 2016. So I think the tournament's all they care about, like especially of all years. Like you can see maybe tinkering with some stuff, or kind of treating it like a petri dish. Maybe I'm reaching there, but just something to think about.
The ED teams have lost in the final and won it.
Yeah.
So I'm not.
ED teams are
okay.
quite
Yeah.
good. 5-1.
ED's just really good. Yeah. So the last 2 years, he's actually been good.
If Michigan State does lose, per Jim, say, just to get our bracketologist hats on, 18-14 is what they become. I think the record for, didn't Vanderbilt get 17-15 one year?
17-15 once, yes.
Yeah.
I think so.
So they're getting close to the cut line. That'd be wild if they miss the tournament.
Just playing with fire.
Yes.
They're just how much can we touch the stove before it actually burns our hand off?
Yeah.
I guess final Michigan State bubble-ish-y, but they're probably in.
That's literally what we just talked about.
Okay, sorry, I wasn't listening to you. So what was the consensus there? I blacked out.
I would bet they'd be at 11.
Okay.
Or yeah, maybe
Send
they'll put
them
them
to another playing
again.
game like
Yeah.
when they played UCLA
Good.
in 2021. Yeah.
I good to know we're aligned. All right, SEC. Let's talk Nashville. Great location for a conference tournament, Kai. Ton of good teams here. This year's been the year of the offense, I guess. Just points bonanza, fun offenses. Should be a fun tournament for that reason. I like Alabama to win this. That's my spoiler. Who do you like here? Tennessee, Auburn, Kentucky, Florida. Mr. McCann, who has your
I
eyes?
thought you were going to set the scene a little bit more. Yeah, this one's in Nashville. Matt choosing Alabama, the 3 seed.
Yeah, I just said that.
Down in their half of the bracket. I took a flyer on Auburn. I realize they haven't been that great away from home, but I like their vibes right now. I just think something weird's going to happen in this tournament, i.e. Tennessee doesn't win, kind of like Matt's feeling with Purdue. I think in Auburn, Kentucky, and Alabama will win. I don't see the teams playing on Thursday, so those 4 teams get byes. Those top 4 get byes to the quarters, which I think is pretty important. South Carolina, I'm not a believer in, Jim. Florida, maybe, but they have to get past Alabama and then maybe Kentucky. Horrible route. I think it's Auburn for me, getting past South Carolina and then Tennessee.
I'm still intrigued by Florida because they played Alabama really tough on the road and then beat them at home. They won at Rupp Arena. So I don't think that path is like impossible for them, but it is, the extra game is not easy, although potentially could be against Mizzou and then it would suddenly be easy. I picked Tennessee in the pool, Kai, because I figured that was actually going to be an unpopular 1 seed pick, but honestly, I think Kentucky wins. They've been playing fantastic. I keep whining about the defense, but it has been a little bit better lately. They've been a little bit more locked in on that end, and they're playing more lineups with a ton of Dillingham and Shepard, which is their best lineups. I'm going with Kentucky, Matthias. I'll say it's over Tennessee, though, in the final. We get a redux of that recent matchup.
I think it's my second most likely. I think the winner of Kentucky, Alabama, assuming we get that matchup in the semis, is your tournament winner. Bama's been good in tournament formats, both conference tournament and the actual tournament. I know they haven't gone all the way, but they've been typically, I just think the seismic uniqueness of how they play is just tough to prep for. Not like it's a super complex offense, but like a ton of plays, but it just feels like it's a team usually with depth. Jim, what are you looking at? Is the data debunk my?
Well, Bama did win last year.
They've lost to a lower seed every single time in the tournament. The last 3
in the
teams.
NCAA tournament, you're saying,
right? Well, you said they've been good.
Yeah.
I mean, the 2 seed lost to an 11, 6 seed lost to an 11, 1 seed lost to a 5. Like that's not. I'm not gonna say they've been good in the NCAA tournament, but no, they have been good in the SEC tournament. I will concede that
they have been.
Further back in the bracket, what was the point I wanted to make? Oh, can Texas A&M go on a run? Guys, give Buzz Williams more of his platform to scream about why he should be in the big dance that is automatic every year, and they've done awesome in this event before.
I think they beat Ole Miss. They're in the field.
Wow. Okay.
I think the committee's going to put him in. Yeah.
I hope so. I hope so.
I think credit to Kerry Miller, I believe. There's been 69 teams with 5 Q1 wins and a above 500 record against Q1, Q2. All 69 have made the tournament. A&M fits the bill.
Yeah, the Kentucky game would in the second round would be, such an odd contrast in styles. Like we want to bludgeon you versus we want to run and shoot.
It's funny, like if Arkansas just wasn't bottom 4 bad, I'd like, oh yeah, Arkansas, okay, danger. It's like no, they got to win 5 games. They're not winning 5 games. Team's terrible.
And South Carolina is like such an antithesis of Arkansas.
Yeah,
you're not going to play your fun style, get up and down. You have to execute. Good luck.
Vandy, South Carolina, Auburn, Tennessee, and then no chance. That team's. I've seen enough of that team this year.
Missouri Tigers.
Let's go to the ACC.
Sorry, one second.
Missouri Tigers in the pillow fight against Georgia.
Nope, they won't win the tournament. Sorry, just wanted to put in there that we talked about.
Yeah,
Missouri.
I think I agree. Good plug for the Tigers. ACC, the nation's capital, been a sneaky big host city this year. I think it has been the last couple of years, but don't love the location of this. Should be in Greensboro. Just feels right to have it there.
Yeah.
UNC, prohibitive favorite would be the Tar Heels. We could talk Duke, Jim. I don't know what we think about Duke at this point, but we'll see if there's a rubber between Duke and, well, not a rubber. UNC's already beat them twice. Can Duke salvage a non-sweep if they run into the Tar Heels in the title game? And then, of course, the very thin bubble that exists in this league. How few bids will this conference get? Jim, thoughts?
My first thought is I'm going to need you to call it a rubber game or a rubber match instead of just a rubber. I need less than that.
Yeah, tough phrasing. Thank you. Corrected.
Yeah, Duke's got the better draw because the 3 seed is Virginia, and I just think Virginia is bad and not super exciting. They're not playing in Charlottesville. The offense can't score. The more dangerous team down there is Clemson, who has been awesome away from home, like winning at Alabama, at UNC, neutral side TCU, at Pitt. Like they've just been really, really good. Veteran team, it kind of makes sense to me. I think that top half's dangerous for UNC. I like Pitt and Wake. I know they've had their own issues, their own struggles, but Pitt's definitely trending up, and it's another team that's been kind of a road warrior versus just kind of sitting at home and knocking teams off. And Kai, I don't know why, but I still think Wake's got talent and potential in this format because the backcourt's really good. I think one of those teams beats UNC. That's my prediction, and Duke wins over Pitt or Wake in the title game.
I'm on board with that, Jim. I think Duke wins this as well. To answer Matt's bracket question, Duke, UNC, Clemson safe. Virginia right now on the right side of the bubble. Many people want them out, but for most people they are in. Pitt and Wake on the bubble. Very, very bubble. So lots of implications, as Matt pointed out. I think Duke gets it done. I think they meet Clemson. I think most people will agree with that. No one's giving Virginia a chance. Don't count Virginia out still. Just saying. I know they suck to watch, but they win some games. Tony Bennett's pretty good. Pretty good little coach up there. Yeah, I'll go with your Dukies, Matthew.
If they lose Virginia, let's say Boston College beats Clemson. God, they're not going to. I want a good hypothetical where Virginia does not get in the field, Jim. We have a 2-bid ACC. Not going to happen.
Clemson's
Okay.
in the field.
Clemson's lost.
Sorry, we have a three-bid ACC. I think
It's possible, but
the other 11 schools should be relegated to the Coastal Athletic, the new CAA, and then they should just swap just for a year. It's so embarrassing.
That's fun.
Tinfoil hat. I don't think there's any way the committee would have only 3 teams then from the ACC.
It's the ACC. It's good. It's better than the Big 12.
The amount of screaming about see the teams who made runs the last 2 years, Miami to the Final Four, the Elite Eight, like that would just couldn't handle it. UNC to the Final Four 2 years ago. I kind of want Pitt in the dance. Is that crazy of me to say? Since I know we've given Cape
I don't hate this tape,
but I really like watching them. Hinson is such a fun matchup nightmare. They just struggled early and had some young foibles against better teams, but then they figured it out. And they've been much better down the stretch. So I don't know. That's the one team I kind of want to make a run. Again, if they knock off UNC, get to the final, perhaps it's there for them.
Yeah, they definitely have a path.
Let's go Pac-12 to America's playground, the desert, the last ever. Tears, emotions, sorrows. Bill Walton, R.I.P. Let's talk Pac-12 tournament, Kai. I know, I'm saying the RIP.
Bill Walton's not dead.
Bad timing.
Just not to alarm
Bill
any
is
listeners.
immortal. Bill is immortal. He is the Benjamin Button of college basketball podcasters, getting younger by the day. We love you, Bill. In all seriousness, Kai, Pac-12, who is your pick to win this? The main theme, I would say, is tons of teams that underachieved were wildly inconsistent because A, they're Pac-12 and they always do that, but B, they're very, very injured. Colorado, USC, Washington to an extent, Utah for sure, and UCLA is just young and not that good, and I think that team's a complete corpse. But Kai, who wins this? Washington State's been the only true team, them and Arizona obviously at the top, the true consistent teams all season.
Arizona's going to win it. They are better than everybody else by a big margin, so I think the Cats got it done. Colorado would be my second choice. I can see them making a run. Obviously, no easiness with Utah in the second round, most likely. If Colorado wins that game against, let's assume Utah, I think they're in the dance. If they don't, it will be very, very dicey, and we could be looking at a 2-bid Pac-12, which would be, yikes, depressing.
Yeah, Jim, real quick. It's just funny, as I was completing my thought, Colorado and Oregon got the 3 and 4 seeds respectively. Feels like both underachieved this year. Just kind of a reflection of the overall league.
They did.
And
especially Oregon.
Kind of a womp year for the Pac-12, I'd say.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping Colorado is good to go with the road sweep of the Oregon schools to end the year. Proof, okay, we can actually win on the road. Got that tight one in Eugene. So I'm hoping that puts them at 3 because I've been impressed with the fact that down the stretch they actually got a couple wins, one at USC, 3 road wins in the final 6. Good job conceding that to them. I think we could see something crazy happen here. I think Cal could go on a run. I think USC could absolutely go on a run given how well they've been playing, having just beaten Arizona. I don't love Arizona in tournament formats where the game slows down and it's harder to get out in transition. I think they are a devastating up-tempo team, but if you slow them down, you force them to execute a little bit, it's not quite the same caliber. Kai, you can get the Caleb Love 8 for 26 performance that
Yeah.
is always
Oof.
hanging over any team that he plays for. So this is one I think you could see a little bit of chaos. I have a USC ticket, Matt, 22-1. So I'm actually
Good.
cheering for Andy Enfield and the Trojans here.
Good you listen. That was my exact recommendation on Stuckey's podcast. Jim. Very wise of you. Kai, thoughts?
Just real quick on Arizona. Yeah, I think if they get ahead early, they're almost impossible to beat. I think if they get behind early, they have a lot of difficulties coming back because of the Caleb Love factor.
Yeah, he just starts
Yeah.
pressing and
Yeah.
maybe I make this 3 and this
Yeah.
one from even further back.
I actually had the classic Cox contrarian take that Caleb Love would be a good antidote in those like really slow, brawly matchups if they got caught in a slaw. He could make some in an inefficient type game. He could make enough shots, tough shots to get them over a team like Princeton or something. Yeah, but we'll dissect Arizona in the actual tournament next week for sure. For this field, I agree. I think they win. I should have mentioned Oregon initially too, and the injury riddled victims of this league. Just again, crazy that Altman got a 4 seed in this conference with how much they were missing for most of the year. Let's talk Mountain West. We stay in the desert, except we go over to Thomas and Mack Arena, Jim, which has not been the home court advantage UNLV would hope historically. They are the 4 seed, kind of on a tear. Certainly the team with the most to gain in this format. Well, I think the other teams, the other 6 Mountain West kind of, safe-ish teams are just trying to hold on to their seat. I think UNLV really needs to make a big push here to get in. And that's kind of that's the home team late surge story is the prevailing theme here for me.
Yeah, like if it's UNLV New Mexico in the final, it's 7 teams. Or I guess if UNLV beats New Mexico in the final, they will have 7 teams.
Which would have meant they would have beat
is-
San Diego State and then probably Utah State to get there. So yeah.
But UNLV can't get in at large. Sorry, I think I said that wrong. But they have to win, and if it's over New Mexico, who's the other dicey bubbler, like truly 1 foot in the tournament, 1 foot out, right on the cut line, then you have that fun, happy scenario where 7 teams get in. San Diego State, like the favorite here, despite being the 5 seed, kind of odd. They just never really got a big road win this year, despite being close in a lot of them, and that's hurt my faith in them a little bit. And it's a team whose best player is their big man, and sometimes it's hard to feature down the stretch. I just haven't quite seen Trammell or Butler take the leap up. They don't have the scoring that Matt Bradley provided on the wings. I'm not all the way sold on them. Utah State, again, they didn't play a single power conference team all non-conference. I'm not all the way sold on them. Kai, I'm going with Boise. I'm picking Boise here. I think it's the winner of Nevada Boise, which is a likely matchup, not a for sure matchup, but I think that one wins the tournament. Nevada's been playing the best of this conference, and Boise, I just kind of like the makeup of them, despite the point guard is totally solved.
Really brutal part of the bracket. I think it's tough to pick a team from the bottom half, given Colorado State, Nevada, New Mexico, Boise State. These are 4 almost tournament teams. New Mexico needs to beat Air Force and maybe even beat Boise State. I'm going with San Diego State. I know it's boring, I suppose. It is the best team in the conference per KenPom, but I think they're going to get it done, Matt. They rise up in these tournament competitions.
Yeah, it did shock me to see them as the highest ranked team in KenPom. I'm with Jim. I was sort of overly harsh on this team, but they haven't really gotten to that gear I thought they would. It's still a Brian Dutcher team with a pretty high floor and
Defense
a strong
is there,
foundation.
baby.
Defense is there. Yeah, top 10 again.
Yeah,
pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been awesome at home too. One of those like very strong home beneficiaries in this league. I have nothing else to say here. Let's go to the A10 where there's a ton of fun teams. Multi-bid potentially. We'll see.
Yeah.
Key.
If someone besides Dayton wins, correct. Yes.
Exactly. Key players include though Richmond and Loyola were kind of at like could we be at large? But probably need to actually win this to get in. And then UMass, VCU, St. Bonaventure, like just very dangerous. Even George Mason, now healthy. Keyshawn Hall, I think, came back
Mason
today.
Is out of the tournament.
And now they're out of the tournament. So that's one less name to mention, Kai. But there are some dangerous dark horses lingering in here. There's also some just kind of like terrible teams that we thought would be good that just aren't that good. But they'll get knocked out today. And by Friday, we'll see the best of the best. Who you got here?
Well, I'm going with Dayton. With Javon Bennett back, their MEAC point guard transfer, I think they're the best team. Clearly, that's not groundbreaking. But he was out. We were nervous that he wasn't going to be able to play, and that would have been catastrophic for a team that has no depth. I think St. Joe's can make an absolute run. They won today. I put a little 25-1 on them because We've seen their top gear. We saw them against Kentucky. We saw them against Villanova earlier this year. Their guard play is elite. Their coaching's not great, but man, those guards can take over games, and I mean all three of them. Eric Reynolds did kind of get hurt, I think, today, so that's obviously huge. He was a first-team All A10 performer. As far as the bottom bracket, St. Bonaventure is a team that really underachieved in terms of the A10 standings, got 7th somehow in this league. I still believe in them. I think Mark Schmidt's probably the best coach in this conference. I kind of expect them to get past LaSalle and even Loyola, but I do think Dayton is my choice here, guys.
I'm going with VCU, and this could age super poorly because they're playing right now as we record this, and they are taking on Fordham, and it's close late in the first half. But I also considered Richmond because it's a super experienced team that's really comfortable in half-court settings. But VCU's given them problems when they played head-to-head. I know Richmond did win at home against VCU, but it was kind of they shot the lights out in the second half thing. I was watching it with Richmond to win the A10 future, so I was excited that it went that way, but it did feel a little bit smoke and mirrors or potentially not repeatable when we get to Brooklyn here. Bottom half of the bracket, yeah, is I have no idea. Dayton has not been the same team recently, especially because of Bennett being out. Is he going to be the same guy with him back? That thumb, Kai, we've had thumb injuries playing basketball with a shitty thumb is hard to do, not fun. But they get Duquesne or SLU, and I think that's a decent matchup either way for them. The Bonaventure Loyola game is really intriguing to me because it's like the underachiever versus the overachiever this year, but the rosters are maybe like equal in terms of talent. I don't know, Matt. I'm picking VCU, and I guess I'll say it's VCU over Dayton in the final.
I agree. VCU beats UMass, assuming they get by Fordham. I kind of like the Ramblers.
Worth noting, UMass has pretty much owned VCU in 2 games thus far. They're tough
great points.
Yeah.
Very good point. Good size up front. When I think VCU, I think even though you think it's Ryan Odom, you think like, oh, offensive, Utah State shooting spacing. It's been a lot more defensive, grittier, kind of a transition hybrid between the old Rhodes gritty era and the Odom more skill-based era. It's been kind of a slow, but he's winning with what he has. I think he's adapting to his personnel. That's why Odom's a great coach. I think I like Loyola though. I thought the team's been good all year. I think their execution's awesome. Their defensive fortress up front's like really good. That's kind of the underrated part of this team. Yeah, like the Blurs. And worth noting, you get a break between Thursday and Saturday. You mentioned this too, right? So Friday you're off, Saturday with the semis, Sunday the finals for the A10.
Clearly helps the non-bye teams like Gems of VCU, St. Bonaventure.
Huge.
Right. Yes.
You got rest to Thursday, and you're on your normal cadence basically for the entire season. So that's kind of huge. I agree. Let's go to the American, which is at Dickies Arena in Fort Worth, Texas. Mr. McKeon, basically the CUSA promotions, we'll call them.
How wild is that?
That's who to watch out for. Like, just basically like I look at this tournament the exact same way I looked at last year's CUSA, because those same teams are relevant with some other good teams as well. Memphis, obviously. And a venue that's not a joke. So we actually play in a real basketball venue, which is great. I think FAU wins because FAU is awesome in tournament formats, Kai. That's my short and sweet of this takedown.
Yeah, it's very funny. The top 4 teams in this conference all came in from, 3 of the top 4 came from Conference USA. So they translated just fine in this league. One thing I will say, I cannot believe North Texas finished 7th. I mean, that is a good basketball team, and they finished 7th in this league.
It's a good league.
That's a tough first round matchup, man. Holy cow. I don't think South Florida is going to win. Sorry, Bulls. I'm going to doubt you one more time here. My pick is Memphis, which sounds crazy because I know Malcolm Dandridge is out for the cheating scandal, whatever it is. But I think they can make a run here. I'm not scared of UAB. They just smoked them. I think Memphis can beat South Florida. They still have as much talent as anybody else in this league. And FAU, that bottom bracket scares the heck out of me. North Texas, Charlotte, SMU. Geez, man, that's a gauntlet. Rooting for the Owls, of course, but going with Memphis.
Yeah, the top half is a little more vulnerable. The Memphis thing's so odd. It's like, yes, they smoked UAB. They also got smoked for 16 minutes. Like that game result is just so confusing, and the projecting of it is bizarre. Oh, Stuckey asked me this on his pod. Let me ask you guys if you remember. That is the biggest deficit swing to winning margin of the season, or excuse me, second biggest. Can you name the biggest that happened on the first day of the year? And I won a bet on it somehow. They're playing right now.
Rice?
not Rice. Wake
Wichita?
Forest was down
Oh,
like
Wake.
22 to Elon
To
and ended up winning by
Elon,
23.
and they covered.
I had Wake
That's
as well.
right.
I had Wake as well in that game. Good
Yeah,
job,
we had
Wake.
a fun victory there. So that was a good trivia question. I like that. Yeah, Matt, FAU makes a lot of sense, but the path is tough, man. You get the winner of North Texas Tulane who can both play, and then SMU is the metrics darling down there. Charlotte already beat them once by slogging it down into a half court game. I think I'm going to go against the grain here and pick South Florida. I just was very impressed by them in person. They don't beat themselves. They get the right guys the ball in the right spots. They can rain it down on you from three. Maybe they get out physicaled, and I do think Memphis is kind of a bad matchup for them, even though South Florida won once. But I'll go with USF, Matt. USF over North Texas. How about that?
I don't hate it. South Florida at large? Question mark?
If
No.
they make the final, yeah, but the problem is they needed another win over FAU, and FAU is on the other side of the bracket. And they can't beat FAU without winning the tournament.
I actually think SMU is my kind of my sneaky pick to win this. I think Charlotte's kind of Charlotte had that awesome run. They gave Aaron Fern the full-time coach. Thank you, Aaron. And since then, they've not been as dominant. They just haven't been. I think SMU's just been awesome, start to finish. They've lost some close games. I like the Pony Express. That team can defend. I think they're a tournament-ish team as well. We'll see.
They'll lose a close game as they have done all season.
They have. I know. North Texas has too. It's like those are. I don't think North Texas is a poorly coached team. I think they just had some bad luck. But North Texas' bigger excuse, and because they had two starters out. Correct. Yeah, this league's awesome. Best take of the year was Matt Cox all aboard the American. I think I will go down with
Except
that.
It might only get one team. So
I know.
awesome.
It was deep.
Yeah.
Again, bet on every American team in any postseason, like CBI, CIT, NIT. We'll see who gets invited where, but I think they're all going to rock. Let's go to the Ivy Madness, which we should not be talking about, but they now have a tournament, and they took tradition and they kicked it right in the nuts, Kai. At Columbia, poor Lions. Great year, just not enough to get to the 4th seed. They could have been hosting. Instead, the big Brown Bears are like the hottest team in this league, but there's a very clear top 3. Yale, Cornell, Princeton. Princeton's probably the best team. Cornell's the most fun team. Yale is the most dangerous team. That's like my stupid characterization of these. Thoughts?
First of all, I like the tournament, Matthew. I know you're a purist, but I like the 4-team tournament. It's good. Also, Harvard, what the heck? Is it time to move on from Tommy Amaker? This team has just not been good last couple of years.
Injuries still. I agree. He's been outcoached. It's a good league with a lot of coaches.
I will be totally fine with any team that wins besides Brown. The tournament, NCAA tournament representative is in good hands with Princeton, Yale, or Cornell. So I'm excited to see who does come out. I'll go Yale, guys. I'll go Yale. But gosh, I don't even believe it. Princeton obviously is making the finals. They're probably the safest choice.
Yeah, I'm picking Princeton. They are the favorite in the betting world. They've got the Brown matchup early that I'm not super worried about. Brown was down like 15 to Yale before coming all the way back. Kind of a gutless senior night performance from Yale. I was very unimpressed with that. I think they lose to Cornell. The fact that all these teams split with each other is fun, which makes it, who's got the matchup edge here. But man, Matt, Princeton's top 5 is just so good. I think the slowdown helps them not have, the fact that they have no depth isn't going to hurt them as much here. They only have to win 2 games in 2 days rather than 3 and 3. I will go Princeton, and they could be like, an 11 seed, even above that 12 line.
Yeah, a 2-bid Ivy would be just kind of the nuts. So
Won't happen.
Probably not, but it won't happen. I want Cornell. I'm sorry. I think Princeton's the best team for sure. Like, also really fun. Not trying to take away from how fun they are. They're very unique in their own way. I just love Cornell because Cornell has no business being this good, but they are. And I think it'd be fun if they got a little run and saw them lined up as a 13 seed. What would they be? 14 seed?
Cornell?
It wouldn't be like that. Yeah.
No, I bet they'd be like,
13-ish?
13-ish. Yeah, I could see them getting.
Didn't beat anybody great, but they won a lot of. They won a lot of games. So
Princeton's the lock.
No
12.
terrible losses, right?
Yeah, Yale's 12, 13-ish.
Yeah, Yale's had a decent. Yeah. All right. Again, these good teams. I bet I will probably be picking an Ivy champion to win first round. Just a spoiler for my bracket. Let's go back to WAC Vegas, Las Vegas, where WAC Vegas is being hosted. Jim, fun conference, Grand Canyon, the dominant team all year, but had some trials and tribulations down the stretch. I guess the true darling is my Tarleton Texans, who got the 2 seed And this is one of those formats where they replicated the WCC, where they just stack the deck in the best team's favor. Double bye for Grand Canyon Tarleton. They're in the semis already. Seattle and UT Arlington, who I think is the hottest team maybe in this bracket, to the quarters, and then Utah Valley, Cal Bap, Stephen F. Austin, ACU are the final 8. Not every team gets to play in this. Very exclusive. Jim, your thoughts on this breakdown?
I think Grand Canyon wins. The switch to the format is very, very helpful for them being right in the semifinals. They're going to have an awesome crowd there because they have fanatical fans, and Vegas is not far from Phoenix. I'm going to say it's over Stephen F. Austin, though, guys. A team I really liked in the preseason. They aren't fully healthy, but they did get Kajust back. Key distributor, point of attack defender. It's going to be tough for them to get through the ladder here, since they got to win a 6-7 game, then beat the 3 seed, then beat the 2 seed. But I think they're able to get it done. I will take Grand Canyon over Stephen F. Austin, Kai.
Yeah, I don't think Tarleton's going to get there as the 2 seed. But man, it's tough. When you have 2 teams already in the semis in this format, it's really hard to see another team winning this conference. And Grand Canyon's been the best team by far all year. They could get to 30 wins, I believe, I forgot where they're at right now. But they've been awesome. They're going to be a really good team in the tournament too. I kind of agree with SFA having run potential. I expect UTA or SFA to make the finals to play Grand Canyon.
Yeah, I wanted to pick Tarleton, but they're lined up against the 2 most dangerous teams, with UTA, if they win against the winner of SFA, Stephen F. Austin and Abilene. I think we all agree Stephen F. Austin wins that game. I'm still going to do it though. And it sucks because guess what? They can't play in the damn tournament. Again, reminder, Tarleton, if they win, does not mean anything. It'll be Grand Canyon probably.
Grand Canyon gets it if they win.
That's definite. Yeah, so Grand Canyon has a pretty easy path to a bid here automatically, whether they just do it themselves or Tarleton takes it down, but we'll see. I don't know if I like the WAC. So the WAC did a whole weird seeding formulaic process this year. We got a lot of pushback. No one really knew what was happening.
Oh, I liked it. I liked it. Every game mattered. It was funny because
I agree.
They already.
That's what was cool about it. The non-conference part mattered. That was cool.
It's like, oh yeah, it absolutely matters how you play the non.
Yeah, to be clear, the selections for the actual tournament was based on conference standings, which is good. And then they seeded it based on some sort of formula that included non-con, net, stuff like that. Yeah.
So your conference standings finish did not correlate to where you are seated precisely.
Yeah, just getting into the tournament, which I think is a good thing to have.
All right, we're going to Conference USA, which has been relocated, RIP to the Frisco Disco. Very sad times indeed. But Huntsville, this venue also looks kind of weird too. I was trying to get a sneak peek at it. It's hosted some stuff before. Anyway, I'm sure it'll be some quirky thing because the CUSA loves throwing a circus type of twist on their tournaments. But Louisiana Tech was the best team all year in this really weird makeshift conference, which now has kind of an identity crisis, if we're being honest about it. But I think Sam Houston's the darling team. #1 overall seed. They're the best team start to finish. Chris Mudge taking over for Jason Huden was awesome this year. They're just really good. I think they win this 9-team format here with basically an 8-team setup with the play-in today between Jacksonville State and FIU. Jim, what's your breakdown on the CUSA tourney?
Yeah, the bracket's set up pretty poorly for La Tech, I'd say, because they're almost certainly going to get Western Kentucky in the semis, and Western Kentucky gave them hell in both games this year. Barely survived the second matchup, lost the first matchup to them. The guards for Louisiana Tech just aren't quite what they need to be for me to be comfortable with them in a postseason setting. Sam Houston State bothered them with pressure. Western Kentucky got the game up and down, and they just had to play through the bigs, and that's tougher to do. So yeah, I actually like Sam Houston State here, top of the bracket. Liberty could give them issues potentially. Maybe they revert to their early season form when it was like, oh man, Liberty not missing a beat without Darius McGee. They sank down and they're tiny. They're the smallest team in Division I. But Sam Houston State is my pick, Kai, over Western Kentucky. I think Western Kentucky gets the rubber match.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go on La Tech. I think Liberty is super dangerous in this tournament. In fact, Liberty ranks ahead of Sam Houston and KenPom still. I can't believe they're the 4 seed. This team can be awesome. They have the potential. So I think La Tech beats Liberty in the championship, guys. Would not be surprised if Richie McKay won it, though.
I'm picking Sam Houston. If you're a Bearcat fan, shouts to our horde of Bearcat listeners out there. Bearcat with a K. Make sure you get that correct.
Written down, yes.
KenPom is my #1 enemy. I just feel like they've been underrated in this damn tool all year. all year. They've been underrated. I think they started off actually a little bit overrated, and they got back to where they were, and now they're even better. I mean, they're really good. I don't believe that they're worse than Liberty. I don't believe that they're worse than Louisiana Tech, to be honest. So this is like the biggest discrepancy between like my personal intuition rating and Ken Palm's rating at this point. So I think
Preseason
they're really
140, now 142. I would say pretty good, Ken Palm. Pretty good.
I think because they dropped to
They got like 210,
200
really,
or something.
tumbled,
Yeah, they tumbled early, and they like, okay, we're good. Jaden Ray healthy certainly helps there. All right, let's continue to the Big West, back to the desert. Henderson, Nevada, just, I don't know, just what, a half hour from the downtown Las Vegas epicenter. Weird venue, Dollar Loan Arena, kind of feels pretty desolate, not like a very exciting, fun, vibey location. If I'm sorry,
Yeah,
Big
it's
West.
like brand new arena they built that
It's very
we're hoping
sterile.
would draw a bunch of events. Yeah,
very
and they're
sterile.
like, you don't get any walk-in traffic in this place. You have to make a major point to go down there and get to
Right.
Henderson.
Kind of a bummer situation here. I mean, like maybe the funnest mid-major story of the season was UC San Diego and how awesome they were, and
Yeah.
they're not even eligible to play in the tournament. So their season's done. But good year, UC San Diego. Kind of lame that we have this rule, but
Ridiculous. The only conference tournament that does not let their transition teams play in the conference tournament. It's
they really stick to the NCAA. They good
let
for
them
them.
play. Let them play at least. Merrimack
Let the
played.
boys play.
Tarleton's playing. Let the boys
play.
play. Do their games count towards the standings at least? I think
Well,
they
you
do
could
this year.
argue, well, would you rather have this or the situation where you have a mockery of a champion like you had with the NEC last year, FDU,
It's not a
Merrimack, or what you could
mockery.
have in WAC this year with
No.
Grand Canyon and Tarleton. So
It's not a mockery. It gives that team a chance to win the conference title. I love it.
UC Irvine, Russell Turner, awesome coach. Been kind of saying that for like forever. Maybe his best coaching job.
Yeah.
Lost guys to like Butler and another D1.
BYU.
BYU, thank you. Good schools, right? Having good years, both those teams. And is better without those guys. So 1 seed, again, another West Coast based tournament with a bracket that stacks the deck in the favor of the favorites. UC Irvine, UC Davis, top 2 seed, automatic bye to the semis. Long Beach State without a coach. Dan Monson, we talked about in the opener, they're the 4 seed. Again, pretty good year. That's why I felt weird that he was, there was a parting of the ways. And then our Bows, Hawaii Kai, snuck into that number 3 seed spot. I kind of feel like they're flying under the radar in this format. I kind of like my Bows.
I think if I remember correctly, UC Davis is like a horrible matchup for Hawaii. I think they kind of owned them a couple times. It's Irvine for me. This is the best Irvine team ever in KenPom, which is astounding to me. 35th in defense in the country. And this is just like I've been saying. It's double buys already. So it's 2 teams in the semis in Irvine and Davis. I don't think Davis is going to get there, respect to Eli Pepper. But yeah, with Long Beach's coach situation, with Hawaii, I don't think having a great matchup with Davis, and I'm scared of Santa Barbara's ceiling. I think Irvine is the choice here.
Yeah, I know I picked Grand Canyon, I picked UConn, I picked Purdue. Boring doesn't have to be wrong. I'm still going with Irvine here. The format, again, is super, super valuable. They only got to win 2. I almost went with Hawaii to be the other finalist to knock off Davis, but I am going with Davis, the best player on the court. A little harder to stop. And Hawaii just hasn't had the same kind of pop this year, Matt. I bet them preseason to win the Big West, and a little bit underwhelmed with what they ended up being. So yeah, Irvine over Davis.
I get the same vibes with Hawaii that I get with Louisiana Tech. I just feel like it's just the guards just don't soothe me as well. As much as I love my guy Coleman and McClanahan, they're just not overly dynamic. Unless Munoz is hot, I just don't really trust the offense. Let's continue forth to Middle America. We head back, Mr. McKee, and we'll talk MAAC, Cleveland, Ohio, Rocket Mortgage Arena, where the Cavaliers play, I think. The favorites here, weird kind of shakeup at the end of the season. So Akron was looking like the clear-cut number 1 seed best team, and they probably are the best team still in this format. But they stumbled. They lost 3 of their last 4, and they are not the 1 seed. They are now the 2 seed, while Toledo, my Rocket Ships, are atop the standings. I think there's chaos in this format, right? It's the 1 year where there's a lot of parity. It's an all-neutral site, no bye, rest edges. It's just going to be chaos. What do you think happens here?
Yeah, I kind of agree. Yeah, this is a very straight up and down bracket, no buys at all, 8 teams. Akron, I think, is the safest choice. I wish Toledo would get there. They haven't been to the tournament since 1980, which is ridiculous because Todd Kowalczyk has been at the top of this league for years and years. I took futures on Central Michigan and Western Michigan. I took flyers on them because I've seen both these teams beat the top teams this season, and I just think some weird team's going to go on a run here. So I think it's chaos. Akron again, Jim, probably the safest choice. I still think they're the best team. They're most experienced. They have Enrique Freeman, but I think something weird's happening.
I'm all the way out on Akron. I just think they played horrible down the stretch. Lost as 21-point favorites and 9-point favorites in their final 2 games of the year. They lost 5 of their final 8, and the 3 games they won weren't like emphatically good performances. They barely beat NIU at home as a massive like 17-point favorite. I don't trust them at all. I think they sort of got solved the guard play limitations that Matt's talked about all year. He was right. I like the flyer on Bowling Green potentially as a healthier team here with some high upside.
Yeah.
And my pick, Matt, you talked me into Toledo over Ohio. I was considering Ohio, but no Miles Brown for them matters. And Toledo did kind of right the ship last couple of games of the year. I know they had one really baffling loss. That was the home to Northern Illinois one, but 3 games solid down the stretch. I will go Rocket Ships over Bowling Green.
I'm going Ohio
that's
over
not possible.
Rocket Ships. No, that's semis. That's semis.
Yeah, Rocket Ships over Ohio.
I'm going Ohio over Rocket Ships. I'm going to stick with Ohio, even though they have depth. Every team in this field has some injury concern. I mean, what Central Michigan was down like 2 of the 3 best players the last game of the year. I don't know what the heck's happening
he
there.
rested him. He sat them.
It was a pure rest. Okay.
Yeah.
So Tony Barbie. That's a fun team. They've been kind of like horseshoe
super lucky.
up their
Super lucky.
Yeah, horseshoe up their bum all year, but like they found a way to win games, and who knows? Again, in a chaotic field, I feel like you can continue to holster the horseshoe where the sun don't shine. We'll see. I hope Toledo wins. I love Kowalczyk. He has been cursed in this format for years. It's so time he gets through. He just deserves more of that postseason glory. Final note for storyline first round: Akron versus Miami. Brotherly revenge there.
That's
Miami.
Right.
Travis Steele knocked off Akron, gave them their first conference loss of the regular season. Now John Gross, as someone with a brother, I can assure you that will be that will not be tolerated.
Yeah, they're brother-in-laws, right? Gross and Steele. Are they Schrader brothers? I think they're brother-in-laws.
I thought they're
Matt, you wrote the MAAC. Come on, you should.
I thought they're brothers.
How dare you? I'll stat boy you. You keep going.
Yeah, I think they're brother-in-laws.
In-laws? Is it just in-law?
I'm not positive.
Okay. Well, let's, Jim, you can sort through the family tree. We're going to MAAC.
Straight up brother.
Straight up brother.
Straight up brother. Yeah, website. That's blood.
Wow. Interesting.
Right here. Blood vein. All right. MAAC. Currently ongoing. Weird season this season, but fun year for interim coaches turned full-timer, maybe? Quinnipiac? Fairfield? While the known suspects.
Fully their coach. He was hired last offseason.
Oh, yes, this offseason. Tom Pecora.
New coach.
Full-time. Newish coach,
old
I should
coach.
say. New old coach, right. The MAACs love their retreads in the Northeast. But again, it worked. Casey at Fairfield, Pecora, Quinnipiac, the 2 favorites clearly in this format. Shockingly, while Iona under Tone Anderson, first-year head coach, had an absolutely brutal season. It just doesn't look like it's going to turn anytime soon. Ryder got hot down the stretch, Jim. Kevin Baggett with the talent. Is he a dangerous pick here? They've made noise before. Knocked off Rick Pitino not so long ago. St. Peter's is, I think, my pick, though, with Corey Washington. The Peacocks have been awfully peacocky late, so I'll go with the Peacocks.
The Ryder thing's weird because they've been like horrible in the tournament for years and years and years, like losing to a lower seed, not winning a single game for a while. And then he beats Pitino, and it's like, wait, does he figure this out? And then last year they lost to St. Peter's right away. So I'm not totally a believer in Ryder, despite the late surge and being the preseason favorite. I do think that top half it's very tilted towards the top half with Ryder, St. Peter's, and Quinnipiac. The Quinnipiac thing's also kind of odd. They were awesome for almost the entire year, but they had a 2-week span where they went 0-4. It's like maybe that was just aberration or something going on with them. Maybe they had the flu. I don't know what it was. But that said, Kai, because of how strong the top half is, I'm picking Fairfield. I think they've got the best backcourt, and now Yetna kind of reinforcing things in the inside. Maris maybe getting short shrift there, but I'm going with Fairfield.
I think the winner of Ryder and St. Peter's wins the bracket. I'm going Ryder. I'm going Ryder. Yep, MAAC's crazy, so I think something non-chalky is going to happen here. Note on Iona, it was their worst conference season since 2020, but before that, since 2009. So like, this was a weird year for Iona not being at the top of the league. So I don't think it's going to be them this year. I love Fairfield. I think they're the best team.
I agree. I like Fairfield a lot.
But I think Ryder or St. Peter's is going to win it.
I agree with that too. I feel like best team is Fairfield, but the best team is not going to win this field. I just think it's just too much chaos occurs. All right, our two darling low majors, the MEAC and the SWAC. I have a lot to offer you guys in the MEAC. I'll be honest. It feels like it's the league I know the absolute least about. The SWAC I have some takes on. Jim, the MEAC is in Norfolk, though not at Norfolk State's home gym, so it's a partial home advantage, I guess you'd call it.
They always get a good crowd, though. Yeah,
they always get a great crowd. It's just a good program, and they're good, and they've been good the last few years because Robert Jones is awesome. He's like the waiting to get plucked by a bigger school, but I think just loves Norfolk as good. But anyway, great coach, really good team. They're the best team. NC Central is awesome too. Howard was kind of our preseason darling pick, and they're still really good, but have been a little bit underwhelming. And then there's some feisty coaches with some junky defenses, South Carolina State, Delaware State. The more I think about this, I actually kind of like the overall fun factor here, Jim. What's your who wins this and why?
I'm going with NC Central over Norfolk. A little bit chalky final there, but the number 2 seed pulling off the upset in the championship. I thought about getting cute with Howard, but Norfolk swept them this year. And the last day of the season, Howard had a chance to earn a share of the regular season title, and they got absolutely dominated. So that told me I think Norfolk has separated themselves on a different tier there. But NC Central's kind of got the down transfer athletes to do it. Moten is a little bit of a mirror, Matt, to what you're saying with Jones at Norfolk, where he seems like a guy that's been waiting to get plucked for years and has just remained there. So I'm going with NC Central, Kai, in a narrow one over Norfolk in the final.
Part of me wanted to take SC State, South Carolina State, best rebounding team in both ends, split with NC Central, played Norfolk really, really close. But I'm going with Norfolk. Time and time again, it's been Lavelle Moten or Robert Jones, and I think it's Jones again. Worth noting, they've won 2 of the last 3. Didn't win last year, but they won 2 years before that.
I'll go Norfolk. Did that still kind of bring up? I don't mean to go down memory lane here, but I just feel like I'm glad you guys both are into Norfolk. It's a likable team program. I know it just doesn't resonate well with you guys, but
they beat Mizzou in 2012. We know.
Kyle O'Quinn, nice player.
Kyle O'Quinn.
The last conference we will discuss is the SWAC, the Shifty Swifty SWAC. Sorry, Mississippi Valley State, you will not be participating this year because you did not make the top 8, which is a qualification to make this field. Grambling, the number 1 overall seed, I think a surprise, as many had Jackson State penciled in there preseason, but they took some injuries, took on some water, and they kind of tumbled all the way down to a 6 seed. Speaks to, I think, the parity in this league as well. Alcorn State, always a contender. Norland Bussey. Southern, under first-year head coach Kevin Johnson, who beat Mississippi State in the non-con. They have, like, the highest upside giant killing potential if you'd ever give a SWAC team a legit chance to maybe scare a 1 seed, but I don't think they're going to get past Grambling with their size, Jim. And then Texas Southern, fighting Johnny Joneses, who win this every damn year until proven otherwise. So that's where you need to be watch out for. If you're going to bet against Texas Southern, do so at your own peril.
Yeah, I'm going Texas Southern. They had a little bit of a lull in league play where they were hurt. Like PJ Henry was out, and he's super important for them. That matters to me a little bit. So, given the fact that like there's really no advantage to any of the seeding here, the 1 seed is a 2-point favorite over the 8 seed. Yeah. It's ridiculous. Like there's just parity all around. Southern, I don't know if I think Tyron Joseph is still out for the year. Alcorn, Jeremiah Kendall is starting today as we pod. So. Key player, their best player is actually back in the lineup. You know what, Kai, that does tilt me. I'll have Alcorn in the final here against Texas Southern, but I'm going with Texas Southern until proven otherwise. They just win this thing.
They're on the same side of the bracket, though.
I thought it was 4 and 2 seed. Shit.
2 and 3. Yeah, Alcorn's the 2.
Oh, all right. Well, then, yeah, Texas Southern over Alabama State. The 8 seed goes to the final.
Wow, interesting. Yeah, I do think there's a potential upset. Yeah, Jim mentioned 2-point spread between 1 and 8, and then it's like 5-point spread between Alcorn and Alabama A&M. So there's parity. Southern's actually the highest rated team in KenPom, but Jim mentioned Joseph is out, or at least has been out. Good luck finding out if he's in or out with the coverage in this league. I'm going Texas
4 of their final 6.
Maybe. I'm going Texas Southern as well, Matt. 3 straight years they've won this conference tournament. 1 is an 8 seed. I'll take the Tigers. Who everyone's named the Tigers. I'll take the Texas Southern Tigers.
I was going to take Bethune-Cookman. It'd be really cute, but Zion Harmon, former top 100 recruit who is playing in this league. Crazy. He's been awesome, but not like I think the world beater that many people probably expected in the SWAC. Did not play last 2 games. I'm not going to bet them against Southern. Mm, I'll just do the Texas Southern thing because history is pretty overwhelmingly in their favor, and I guess Johnny Jones has some magic potion that he works during these formats. So I will trust history there. It's time for reviews? Question mark? Kai?
You're right. You're right, Matthew. Sorry, let me write down the timestamp for my
Oh, thank you.
YouTube. No, it's not for you. It's for YouTube, Matthew. They're going to be slightly different timestamps.
I retract.
Yeah, it's okay. Let me just change the little color for you too behind the scenes. Good pod, by the way, guys. Yeah, thank you. Hey, thanks to Ed in the chat for the donation. Wow. Yeah, we turned on the function that you can donate to us on YouTube. So no obligation there, but we do appreciate it. It's awesome. The super chat function, which I didn't know existed until recently. But appreciate that all the same, Ed. Do check us out on YouTube if you haven't already. If you're listening to it on Apple, we do appreciate subscriptions and likes on the videos. Okay, here we go. Jim, do you want to start us off? We have a review from Scott H, who wanted to leave us a review, but he doesn't listen to the iTunes medium, but he wanted to leave us a review anyway. So you got a DM from him.
Yep, sent me a DM. I assume it's 5 stars. 5 stars. It's funny. Our initial interactions with Scott were clashing over whether Ken Pom mattered, if we cited it too much. And he says he's a convert. So pretty cool that, it started as a not hostile, but a little bit back and forth. And now he's a great fan of the weave and a fun member of the chat. He says a lot of nice things about our chemistry, the flow. It feels genuine. Obviously, we've been friends before the show, and hopefully that's coming through on the product. So thank you for the kind words, Scott. His question: have we discussed the expansion of the tournament, especially the latest Lunardi proposal? If so, could you tell me what podcast? But if not, would you like to hear? He'd like to hear thoughts. Kai, we've talked on expansion a little bit. I think we all realize it's inevitable. The mighty dollar is staring down at us. I'm okay with it as long as we don't go crazy. Like I would fully accept 80. I don't want 96. I really don't want 96.
It better be a play-in format to make the field of 64. Is the only way I would accept it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's play-ins Monday, Tuesday, and then it's a field of 64 like we're used to. Just so it's adding more play-ins, basically. Okay, so putting the bubble teams into a blender one more time. And I think you should give an extra bid to league champions for the regular season if you're going to do that.
Yeah, if you go 96, that feels,
yes.
Come on, do that.
Yes.
If the who's the Big 12 commissioner guy who's running this? Yormark, thank you. If he could, me and him in a back alley, if he could say, hey, Matt, listen, we're doing this, but I can offer you this. A play-in format, as Kai just said, and a guarantee that the achievements of teams in that format, like a opening round -2 victory, when we celebrate them, we don't put banners up and claim them as NCAA tournament win in our gym. If we can guarantee that in the play-in format, if the momentum is strong, I think that's a compromise. Even the most pure of purists should at least consider. That's all I'm saying. At least consider it. I think I could be convinced.
I don't care if you call it NCAA tournament. Sure, do what you want, but it's play-in, whatever.
Yeah, right. Don't just make sure you acknowledge whatever you do in that play-in win as a play-in win. It wasn't a field 64 win. It was not.
Yeah, the 64 format's just so nice. It just works so well.
Clean.
Okay, next review. Jim, is that it from Scott?
That's all I got. Yep.
Bill Dietz, favorite basketball podcast, 5 stars to the #1 Todd Golden supporters. Go Gators. We do love Todd Golden. Every Wednesday, look forward to it. We give good insight. Excellent. Okay. His question: what analytical sources would you recommend for someone that religiously checks KenPom and Bartorvik every day already, have toyed with the idea of Evan Mia and CBB analytics, but get paralyzed by the different subscription options? I used shot quality for parts of 2023, but not so far in 2024. Anyways, thanks again for the hard work you all do. This is March. Well, we're going to recommend CBB Analytics because they sponsored the show, of course. And I do think there's a trial period you can use when you sign up with them. So maybe good to look at there, first of all. Frankly, KenPom and Bart.
First month's free.
First month's free.
PMW.
Oh, there you go. First month's free. $40 off. Yeah, so try that. Frankly, KenPom, Bartorvik, I mean, you're pretty good with those two sites outside of CBB Analytics, in my opinion.
I have found a lot of useful things on each site. Like, I don't think anyone's a catch-all. I think they've all got little things that are super valuable, like the on-off at CBB Analytics. Some of the live stuff at Shot Quality is really, really good. If you paid for premium deluxe package or whatever, and you want a live bet, I think that's a decent place to look there. Evan Mia has some cool features. The new one about, teams that play better against lesser competition versus their better competition is an interesting metric that I think might have some projectable value. It depends on what you're trying to look for. Like, if you just want fun stats, CBB Analytics is going to hit a home run for you. If you're really looking for gambling depth type knowledge, Shot Quality and Evan Mia might have stuff for you too there. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, that was like $1, Jim. I had a list and you guys said all my list. So
good. All right, we have 2 more reviews. I'll save this really long one for last here. I'm just reminding the chat of. I'll talk about our schedule too next week after this. Basketball Fan 32, best college basketball podcast. Noticed the other night that Fletcher Lawyer bears faintest resemblance to Jim. He's gotten that before, believe it or not. Something with the length of the hair and the hair made me wonder. If there was a docudrama about 3&W and they cast it with current D1 players, who would play each of you? Alternate question, who's your NIT Final Four? NIT Final Four will be 2 American teams, Matthew.
Yep, correct. Very good.
Either Sam Houston or Louisiana Tech. And then if Indiana State goes to
New
NIT,
Mexico.
hope not Indiana State. If New Mexico, there's New Mexico. We'll go with those 4. Yes.
I need to get NIT's take on this, but I think that's the right pick right now.
I think Pitt and Ohio State are teams I like to make runs in that event. Ohio State kind of has remember when Xavier made a huge run after firing Travis Steele?
Right.
And it was like the interim guy kind of rallying. It was Jonas Hayes, who's at Georgia State now. I could see that being something there. So that's 2 NIT picks for me. Am I missing something else?
The D1 players that would play us?
Yeah. It used to be Garrett Sturtz would play me, cutter, work on the glass.
Nice.
I do not enter the 3-point arc anymore since the knee injury. I am now a chucker. I'm pretty much Jack Golke at this point.
Jack Golke. For the record, Horizon fans, Oakland in the field, you're going to watch that game. Duke might just burn 35 on 8 threes.
I don't know who would play me. I don't know. Baylor Shireman. How about that? I'll go Shireman. Matthew, you'd be like Steven
Grant
Ashworth,
Gibbs.
Maybe. I don't know. Current player.
I'm one of a kind. There's not a current archetype.
Grant Gibbs kind of husky, like fluffy?
Yeah, he's a little more. He's a little
very
more 40
skinny.
too.
Yeah.
Well, no, he's kind of skinny. He's lanky.
Who am I thinking of? The husky guy? I thought it was Gibbs. Oh, Raggy.
Gibbs is
Raggy. I was thinking Raggy.
Raggy's like
Raggy
the
bomb.
bear. Yeah, Raggy's the bear.
Okay. Thanks for the review. Appreciate it. Okay, this next review, I'm not going to read the entire thing because it is like 6 paragraphs. We appreciate it though. Still, Josh Pace's spinning floater is the writer. It's basically a Syracuse fan's take on Red Autry. The summary here is that he thinks Autry has done a pretty solid job this season in his first year. Lifted Syracuse
I don't
a bit
disagree.
from the last couple seasons. They've played better as of late. Some good comments in here, actually, if you want to read this review about Benny Williams. His absence killing Syracuse's defense, but also coinciding with the lift on offense and maybe a little bit of a Ewing theory with Benny Williams being maybe a little high maintenance, we'll say, on the floor at times, and his absence has actually kind of helped the team. Guys, in terms of Red Autry, I think he's done a fine job. I really expected Syracuse to be a lot better this season. They were kind of a sexy pick. Maybe that was a little bit too far with the young backcourt in Mintz and I'm blanking on the other guy. Starling.
Starling. Why Starling? Starbury.
Yeah. If those guys stick around, I think Hughes is on a good trajectory. I do agree that the switch to man is probably a good call, predominantly.
Yeah, long term, I think it is for sure.
Yep. Yeah, it's just you should have a zone in your bag as a change of pace. Playing it permanently as a base defense is more or less defunct, I think. There's just too much skill on the floor. But I like that move, and the roster's young. Maybe Chance Westry comes back from the injury that kept him out all year and is the top 50 recruit that he was too.
It's also a zone not conducive, and we've seen rate of zone declining. Like that's a very real statistical thing that we've observed, Jim, and synergy data. Not to nerd out, but also the transfer, the continuous changing of players just makes like it impossible to build a continuity with zone defense. I think you need multi-year players too.
All right, I'm going to let Matt sign us off, but I want to remind you guys, next week, our plan. So Best Bet show the rest of this week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday morning. That's 9 a.m., 9 a.m., Saturday is 10 a.m. Then Monday will be our annual Marathon March Madness podcast. We go through every single region of the bracket. It's usually like 2 hour plus long. It's going to be great. We're going to do it live on YouTube. That's Monday. at
Yeah, that's
1:30.
I think we're aiming for 1:30 Central. And yeah,
Yeah.
that one's very like matchup-y, narrative-y, like the podcast. And
The
then the
podcast
real nitty-gritty gambling stuff, Kai, comes in best
is
bet.
Tuesday. Tuesday, we will have two separate best bet shows on Tuesday. One that covers Thursday games and one that covers Friday games. And those will just live on the internet for the entire week. So you can just go back and watch those whenever you want. But that's our plan. So marathon podcast Monday, two best bet shows on Tuesday. We'll tweet all that good stuff out. Back to Matthew for the sign off.
I'm just going to slam dunk that for the alley. No, great close. That's all you need to know. And we'll be in front of your screens and eyeballs for the next 2 to 3 weeks. Fun stretch, dig in, buckle up, boys and girls. That concludes our episode today. Come back and join us as Kai instructed. Take care.